All right, so today we're going to be making a Nick Cave inspired mini sound suit. So like Nick Cave, we're going to be using recycled materials and trying to decorate and make something that maybe makes a sound when it moves. So I'm using a toilet paper roll. You can also use other containers if you can draw on them or paint on them, but this one is easy to find. And I'm going to be using lines and shapes to decorate this toilet paper roll. Now, one thing I really want you to think about is, why is this different than paper? And if you said it's because it's round, you are right. You really can't just think about one side. You have to think about what it looks like when you turn it around. Kind of like how we had to turn around our Play-Doh when we were playing with it to see the whole sculpture. So take some time to decorate your tube, if you have a tube, or if you have some other kind of container. But I like to have something that has a hollow center, so that way we can string stuff through it or even put something in it. If you need to pause and look at this diagram, go ahead and do that now, and then we'll talk about what to do next. All right. So the next thing we can do is create some more movement around your sculpture. So you need your paper from your kit again. And like last time, we're going to just cut off the ends because we only need a little bit of our paper to make springs and other things like that. So I'm going to take my colorful paper, and like I did last time, I'm only going to cut off a little edge of it. Rest of that big paper away. All right, so I have my colorful paper and I have my tube. You can also use other materials as well. So, for example, if you have string at home, you can use string. If you have beads or tinfoil, you can use that too. But your goal is to make this so that way it has things coming off of it, almost like one of those sound suits. So let me first show you what I'm going to do with the paper, and you can do something like it, or you can do something different. And then I'll show you some options if you have other materials like string and tinfoil and beads. So thinking about this being 3D, I think I want, because I did some of these spirals, I think I want some spirals coming off of what will be the top. And I'm going to choose the colors that I used already. And I'm also going to, maybe I'll do some zigzags and some spirals. So let's see how I want to do this. So remember the spirals, you put it around a pencil, curl it. If you want a tight spiral, instead of pulling it out, that way you can slide it out and the spiral will be tighter. And then I could glue that to the side. Cool. Now, if you want more paper strips, I would say cut one more of each color would be fine. Still save, you want to cut from the edge, still save the majority of it for later. And of course, if you have your own construction paper, you can use that as well. So I went to purple. Springs or spirals coming out. They're kind of fun when they move. You also want to think about not just sound, but how it looks when it moves. All right, for my reds, I think I want to do the zigzags. So that one, I bend up one end like that, and then I bend back and forth. So have my tall end up, bend one way, bend the other way, zagging like I'm drawing it, but just folding it on top of each other. This might happen with your glue. Just make sure that you are patient with your glue and give it enough time to dry. You can also use normal bottled glue if you have that, or of course if you need to use tape. And remember, yours does not have to look like mine, but it's just, no matter what you do, you're gonna have probably some papers that will wanna come off, which is okay. Just gotta convince them that they wanna stay on. I have that one coming off like that. And then the other one on the other side. Now you can have yours not just coming up from the top. You could have like, arches that come down. I will do one of those just to show you. You can have these papers going around the tube. I think your end result though, you just want to make sure it can kind of stand up on its own without any of the papers and stuff getting in the way. And I'll show a side view of it in a bit. Let me just do, actually, I'm gonna do that now. Hold on one second. All right, so here we are standing up. Kind of looks cool so far. All right, so I'm going to, now you could make arches too if you want, so I'm gonna show you so you remember. If you wanna do an arch, you can give it 2 feet that stand up, kind of like a phone. And then you can create an arch like that. Maybe going from one side to the other, or like a handle up and down like this. You know what, I'm gonna make a handle. Probably can't use it like a handle, but it will look like a handle. I have to hold that for a few seconds. Okay, I'm also going to show you what you can do with string and beads if you would like. Actually, I'll be using tin foil because not everyone has beads, but you most likely have some sort of string or ribbon and tin foil. All right, for my string, I'm going to loop it from one side to the other. So if I take my string, I'm gonna run it through my tube and bring it back up like this. I'm gonna tie the knot at the top. And in class, we are practicing lots of knots. So this is a good time to learn how to do knots. So have your favorite adult show you how to cross the strings, and then pull the top string through the opening. So I have a tie to the top, so I have some loose string right there. I'm going to do that in a few more sections with a few more strings. This is optional, but an interesting way to create more decoration on your piece. So bring your 2 strings up, cross them like an X. The string in front needs to go behind the other string and through the big gap tie. I'm going to double knot these. Whoa. Alright, I'll give these a haircut. If you have ribbon, that works too. Maybe I'll do some with ribbon. Once again, this is optional. And it's best if you can find things that you can do this with. So it could be like an old shoelace or a section of a plastic bag. And the last section is kind of being taken up by my candle, so I'm going to do 3. All right, so right now, your paper might make some noise. And all of Nick Cave's sound suits didn't make distinctive noises. Sometimes dance was important to certain kinds of music. But I'm going to see what happens when I put tinfoil on the end. Like I said, you can use beads too if you have beads. So I'm just going to take little strips of tinfoil and put them on the ends kind of like beads. Put it on the string, crumple it up, like that. So it's like a little bead attached to it. All right, let's see what happens when we move it now. More tapping sounds. What if I put some of these beads inside of the tube? So I drop it like this inside. Very cool. Starts to make noise. Now you probably have to be kind of gentle, but when you're done, I would love to see your sound suit moving and see what kind of noise it makes. Is it just the rustle of a paper? Is it the clicking of something clicking against it? Excited to see what you create with your recycled materials, thinking about movement, thinking about sculpture, and thinking about it being interesting all the way around.